And we are live now. Welcome everyone. Thank you for keeping up with us on our social media and joining us for today's live. Feel free to drop us some questions throughout the show. I'm Nur Fazlin Bedi Jumain, an international referee jury class 2 and also a certified trainer under the International Pencak Silat Federation. For today's session, let's welcome our international referee jury from all over the world. So, we will start off with a basic introduction from each and every one of you. First up, I would like to invite Dr. Sheikh Alauddin, representing the Asian Pencak Silat Federation, to say a few words.
Hi, good morning to everyone. My name is Sheikh Alauddin. I'm representing three areas, as you say, association. One as a steering committee of the International Silat Federation and president of Asian Pencak Silat Federation. And of course, I belong to Singapore as the Singapore Silat Federation. And I'm very much delighted to be around for this discussion within the International Wasit Juri. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh. Next, I would like to invite our representative from Indonesia, Ibu Titi, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. International referee and jury, spectators, and then observer, especially Pencak Silat lover. I want to introduce myself. My name is Titi Hayati. I'm international referee and jury class 1 from Indonesia. And actually, I've been wasit and jury or referee since 1987. So indicates my age. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Titi. Since 1987, that's such a long time. Next, I would like to invite our representative from Netherlands, please.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeroen Oostma, referee from the Netherlands. I'm very happy and welcome to join everybody in this early morning in the Netherlands. For everybody's information, it's 6 o'clock in the morning here. So the birds are just starting to sing here in the morning. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Jeroen, for spending your early morning with us. I believe this will be a very fruitful session for everyone. Okay, next up, I'd like to invite from Singapore, Mr. Shafaq, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. In Singapore, it's afternoon. Yeah, it's lunch hour. Okay. I'm Shafaq Alihab from Singapore. I'm an international wasit jury, and I feel thanks to get to attend this live coverage of wasit jury. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Short and simple. Thank you, Mr. Shafaq. Next up, I'd like to invite from Brunei, Mr. Karol, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning, everyone. So my name is Karol Zulkarnain bin Hajikula. I am representing from Brunei Darussalam. So I am international referee jury class 1. Of course, I am still young. That's all for me. Okay, happy fasting, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Karol. Then I would like to get from Singapore, Mr. Muhammad Zaki. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I would like to say good day to everybody because I don't know who's watching around the world. Anyway, good day to everybody. I feel very honored to be invited into this live. And I am international referee jury class 2. I'm not old, not young. I think I'm middle age. So, okay. Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki. We are also waiting for our other friends from Australia, Malaysia, India, and Philippines to join us in this session. So, without further ado, I would like to start with your experiences as an international Wasit Juri. So from the introduction earlier, Ibu Titi has been a Wasit Juri since 1987. So maybe you can share with us what is the kind of mindset you need to have while preparing yourself to be on duty. Ibu Titi, please.
Nah, okay. Thank you for Nur Fazlin. Actually, even though I've been Wasit and Juri more than 40 years, and then in international, I have I think more than 10 SEA Games. Okay, but my experience in international occasion, I think about our regulation is still not stable. It's not stable. So if regulation, but the people who read the regulation still needed to make confirmation, because there are more than article that not same perception to implement the regulation, so that the impact is when the championship, international championship, maybe Wasit and Juri can make a different decision in implement the regulation. But and the other hand, about the technique, we know technique in Pencak is many various technique Pencak, but in order to achieve the points, we still need punching and then kicking and then dropping. So it's very simple. It's very simple to the athlete to show the technique. So the technique is not improved as well as the Pencak can describe the Pencak itself. So only not more than 3 about the technique of kicking and then punching, only one kind of punching. Right? So, but everybody can see that it's Pencak in guard position and in langkah, in step. So, that's Pencak. Only that. But in technique, I think is very poor in technique to show that it's Pencak. Okay, and my experience in seni, now it's seni, yeah, in seni, in jurus tunggal and then jurus regu and then ganda. This is jurus tunggal, jurus baku, standard, yeah, standard for jurus tunggal baku and then jurus regu baku standard. But for Wasit and Juri, for Juri themselves, what is standard? No socialization about the standard. But I think here present the one of the team creator of Pencak of jurus tunggal is Mr. C. Yeah. That's the book of the jurus tunggal. This is the sort how to make the jurus standard. So it's very poor in seni when make point in seni. So it really depend on the Juri, but not standard. It still happen now. Okay, maybe thank you. Maybe another opinion for the others.
Thank you, Ibu Titi. Yeah, so I believe what you mentioned is about knowing the mindset when you want to go out as a referee jury is you need to understand the techniques and such. So maybe Mr. Jerome, could you like share with us personally for you, how do you prepare yourself before going on duty as a Wasit jury?
Yes, thank you, Noor. In the past, I've been an athlete myself, and I find it quite confident to know the mindset and the feelings the athlete is confronting at the moment he needs to enter the arena. So for me, it's all about being on the same level in mindset with the athletes, to have the same feeling and understand what is happening on the field emotionally. Not to join them on that same level, but to be aware of that emotional feeling, so I can guide the athletes during their most amazing achievements at that time. So that's for me the most important part. My experience in Sydney in Europe is very little, so I need to say sorry about that part. But in Tanding, I think this is a very important part to understand the emotional part of the confrontation the athletes is enjoying at the moment.
Very well said. Thank you. Maybe I get Mr. Shafaq. You are my senior in Singapore in terms of Wasit jury. Maybe share with us for yourself, having been a Wasit jury for so long in Singapore and then stepping into the international scene. What do you do to prepare yourself to be on duty?
For me, we take Sydney as an example, right? Before any pertandingan start or any competition starts, right, I will do my own practice. First thing is my own practice, and I see videos, some of the videos of Sydney, Ganda, Ragu. Then from there, the mind will start trigger you how the things works and how you do. I understand most of the Wasit jury cannot do a perfect as an athlete performance. That is definitely cannot. Even you can call a veteran athlete to do a performance of an athlete, cannot. But fundamental you must have. Say for example, the right kick, the right move, that is the fundamental. But once you do practice or you train yourself, of course you need a trainer to train your capability. And this practice can make you perfect. I mean, because there's one word here, you look outside the box is much more clearer than you are inside. Because athlete, they can say, it's correct. But you can compare when apple to apple. Now, the new rule is easier because there is two athletes only. And you can compare apple to apple. Or this athlete perform and this athlete perform. And it's much more easier and the mind still fresh. Rather than last time, you need a category of 8 athlete, 9 athlete. Then from there, you get lost. Whether this kick, this is what I see. So prepare yourself before any competition. I think you'll be okay. This is what I see.
Thank you, Mr. Shafaq. So, as you all know, as mentioned by Mr. Shafaq, even the Wasit jury has to go through training sessions just to prepare themselves for the competition. So, Dr. Sheikh, when Mr. Shafaq shared about the training session, as a technical delegate for various competitions, what and how do you prepare your Wasit jury to be on duty for that competition itself during the refresher course?
Well, let me just start off. I have never Wasit in the international scene, but I went for a course in early 2000 under Bapa Rifai, late Bapa Rifai, and went through referee and coaches course. So from there, gives me a confidence to train Wasit jury from the club level and so on in Singapore. And also I was a judge and I was the referee itself in many martial arts, in MMA, in kickboxing, in all styles. and that gives me a confidence. And uniquely in terms of silat, there's a lot of variation of techniques, very beautiful and very colorful, and you got to be an expert to be the Wasit himself. So being a technical delegate in many championships, especially Asian Championship, Singapore Open, and coming soon in the in SEA Games, what we need to do is we need to look at putting them into, as what Mr. Shafak is saying, refresh them, going through the Tunggal, the Regu, and of course the Ganda also, they need to couple with their friends, and they have to showcase. And on top and above, they have to remember and going through again the aba-aba, the steps of it. Sometimes you forgot, so you need to put them into the practical and the theory part. So the practical, they really need to understand the rules pertaining to the aba-aba, the stances, and the techniques. They need to try out to do the technique jatuhan, the technique dropping and so on. They must go through, then they will feel it. When you don't feel it, it's very difficult for you to judge, because it's easy for us to sit down and just judge modeling and so on. So you can see them nice and lengthy and sexy and so on. Maybe you give more points. But for this, you got to be alert. You got to be fitness-wise. You also must be ready. Fitness, mentally, physically, and of course, you got to be subject expert to the sport itself. So we have started seriously. Right now, we have came up with more various, more in-depth, although it's a refresher course. This is very important for our sport, as we need to elevate the standards. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh. So you mentioned earlier about being a subject expert. Maybe I can ask Mr. Zaki, other than having the great knowledge about the sport, what other attributes do you need to have to be a good and fair referee, Juri?
Of course, the baseline will be the knowledge. I mean, other attributes will just be your attitude, your speed, your alertness, how alert you're going to be, have enough rest. And you, like what Dr. Sheikh just now said, the physical part is very important, because you cannot be slow, you cannot be walking around, you're going to have to be alert. I think the other attribute I would say very importantly is to be able to be alert and grab whatever that you see. You have to be decisive. It's just knowing the knowledge, but not being decisive and not being alert, and not being able to be brave enough to give the decision is also a takeaway. So for me, physical alertness, all that matters besides the knowledge. Some people, they can have all the knowledge, but they can have theory knowledge, but on practical, not much people who can do it. So yeah, that's what I think one attributes I need to add in.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki.
Yeah.
Mr. Carol, do you have anything to add on? So what other attributes to you can make a good and fair referee, Juri?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fazlin. For me, as a Wasit and Juri, I make more practice and more knowledge about the skill, about the referee and jury. Then, as my experience in SEA Games, Asian Games, and World Championship, I have looked so many participants in SEA Games in world, and the rules now changed. We update just like Dr. Sheikh say, need to re-update about the rules. And then the old rules maybe cannot be cannot be done, or now the new rules should be okay lah. So that's all for me. So my experience is I'm left hand wasit juri. Okay, and so but the jurus tunggal and ragu is for us need to know lah for the international wasit juri. That's all for me.
Thank you, Mr. Carol. So, I still with you. I want to ask. Having confidence is important as a wasit juri. So, how do you gain that confidence to be the wasit for a strong match? Like, for example, maybe both red and blue corner is the crowd favorite. So, kamu harus jadi wasit juri untuk perlawanan yang antara dua pesilat yang bagus. Dan dua-dua kuat, dua-dua boleh menang. So, sebagai wasit juri, macam mana kamu boleh prepare diri kamu untuk jadi confident bila bertugas?
Okay, untuk yang itu, kedua pesilat merah dengan biru, dia macam aura tau. Macam aura tu datang kan. Kalau dia aura tu datang, should be perfect lah. So we know, the two pesilat is good in technique. So should be tidak ada salah lah. Ada salah memang not perfect lah. Not perfect in example for the tanding lah. Tanding, the two pesilat is very, very perfect. So for my experience, last time saya menjurikan, saya pendek, tapi pesilat saya tinggi. Itu saya punya experience lah. So the level of the seeing untuk tengok durang tinggi sama rendah, ditakuti contoh salah belaan. Pasal saya pendek kan, saya pendek, referee, then saya ada pesilat tinggi, very tall. And then for the skill, as we know as a referee juri, we have learned the skill. So like the aba-aba and what they call the triangle untuk wasit juri, di mana kita akan fokus melihat di mana sudut-sudut pesilat tertentu lah.
Thank you, Mr. Carol. So, Mr. Jeron, just to share with you, what I asked Mr. Carol was, how do you build the confidence to be a wasit between prominent fighters? Maybe you can share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think you have to be, and the other referee are also saying it, you have to be in shape. You have to be in shape physically, but especially mentally. You need to understand what is happening on the field. So, like I told earlier, the athletes are coming in to give their best performance. And I think as a referee, I am there only to facilitate, to make sure the rules are followed, and to make sure everybody walk out safely at the end of the match. So I have to understand their emotional feeling, and I have to be in shape myself to be able to understand, to express their attacks, to feel what they are happening at the field. So, like other people said before me, you have to experience it yourself first before you can judge it. Maybe not on the same level because you're not fit anymore or you're in this for a very long time. But you have to understand what is happening on the field to make sure you're fit enough to make the decision. And for me, making this decision is just, you have a split second to make the decision. So for me, it's always making the decision. And if you make the wrong decision, just let it go. Just make sure the mindset of yourself stays to make the next decision also, because you have to continue. Of course, everybody makes a mistake. It's a jury sport. I will make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but we don't have to let it involve us at that moment. We can evaluate later, or maybe the Dewan can call you and assist you at that moment, but you have to keep yourself ready to make the next decision. So don't get in your emotional, for my expression.
Thank you. That's a very good point that is shared. Okay, so sometimes people mistake confidence as arrogance. Ibu Titi, have you ever faced this kind of situation where you were appearing as very confident to be on duty, but people label you as arrogance instead? So, kamu lagi confident mau bertugas, tapi di mata pandangan orang kamu sombong. Pernah tak kamu lalui situasi macam itu? Boleh, sorry, you mute.
Okay, I understand. I think my answer is still related to the previous question about how to build our confidence. Yes, I just want to share how to build our confidence. So the first is, before we become a wasit, don't forget to have warming up first, like the athlete, because after warming up, we can feel more loose, and then fun. Okay. And when entering the arena, I like praying, and then the performance is very important. Performance, firm, not arrogant, but firm. Yeah, not arrogant but firm. And then when entering arena, you feel the arena is belong to us, is belong to the wasit. So it's belong to wasit. So like Carol is the little one, and how old are you? The youngest, still young, yeah. But the confidence can be built by myself, by ourselves, yes. And then don't forget eye contact. Eye contact wasit to the pesilat, yes. So when build trust from pesilat to me as a wasit, so every decision of wasit, it will be accepted by pesilat, because we build the trust from pesilat to us, like that. And then for my experience, actually, I don't know people talking behind me, but by for example, by eye contact when make decision, when we make binaan and then reprimand, we still see the eye of pesilat. If pesilat don't see me as a wasit, pesilat look at me. So every the decision of wasit will be concerned by pesilat. But arrogant, I think no arrogant, but firm. If anybody trusts us as a wasit, no more spectator and then coach, and then pesilat will feel that wasit is arrogant. But the wasit, it must be fair. It make decision. Not to for blue and red, we must fair. So by the fairness, we can build the trust of pesilat. Yeah, we can differentiate between arrogant and firm. Yes, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Titi. So, viewers, it's not arrogance, okay? It's all about firmness. So whenever you see a Wasit Juri being confident, they are being firm with their decision. Maybe Mr. Shafaq, you want to share your experience if you have ever faced situations where the people around you mistake your confidence as arrogance, and how do you actually deal with that kind of pressure? Mr. Shafaq?
Basically, I only focus on the match. I focus on the match, and whatever people think, whether it's I'm arrogant or this one, the confidence comes especially when two athletes, a favorite athlete. It's easier because they already know the rules and regulation. The problems comes in is when one athlete is experienced and one is not. Then there's a problem comes in. But if two athletes both are favorite, they know the rule perfectly well, everything will be okay. But as a Wasit or Juri, once a while you have to show some you are superior. That's the important thing. Just to show that you are superior. It's not arrogant, it just looks superior. This is what normally. Then the confidence will come in.
Thank you, Mr. Shafaq. Okay, I believe it's not only the Wasit Juri that can be mistaken as arrogance instead of confidence. Sometimes even the technical delegate will face this issue where people portray your confidence while doing duty as arrogance. Dr. Sheikh, when you face this kind of situation, how do you push these comments away and just focus on your duty as a technical delegate?
For me, just the recent Sea Championship in Singapore, what happened, I get to know from my steering committee that they receive from their counterpart saying that I'm arrogant because, it's just like showing off so much and so on. So I would like to echo what Madam Titi and also Mr. Shafaq saying about Firmness and showing that you are ready, you are acknowledging of the subjects, and of course showing that you are confident and superior. By having so, then people will get confidence. The athletes or the coaches or the team managers or whoever on the floor that following you, they will see that you are confident. You know your subject. If not, they may say that, hey, this guy is totally not ready and not fit to be on duty. So you have to know firstly, being the subject expert. And then you must showcase your action that even like you're doing lecturing, you must show your technique. You being a lecturer, you must show. If you can't show anything, they won't have any confidence. And then you must not be unsure of what direction you are giving to all the ITOs. You must know that whatever that you give is based on the guideline and based. It's not just taking from the clouds and then you share. You tell people what to do. That is very wrong. So in other words, you have to be again subject expert. And not only being the ITD that you only focus on the rules, meaning the techniques and the techniques of the games or the basic rule of the game. You have to look at the whole organization of the sport, how the sport is being set up, how the sport is being run, how who are the important people that it will be attending, and then you must know all your ITOs. So you have to be complete to understand the full spectrum of the sport. And then, of course, you have to make report, you must make understanding, and you got to substantiate your ground, whatever that you deliver on the ground. Because people may protest, there will be protests from the coach, protests from team managers, protests from the federation itself, pertaining to biasness, pertaining to the rules. They don't understand, but they will just let go with the complaints and so on. So you have to you cannot be impartial. You got to be professional in handling. So to me, you have to be professional. You must be subject expert. You must know the surrounding. You must know where is the objective of running a championship. And then you must understand who are the people that involved in this championship. And also, lastly, you must be well communicated internally and externally. Failing which, it will be tough for you. So you got to be all-rounder. I mean, receiving complaints, receiving people attacking you and so on, you got to look at the subject itself. What is the complaint is all about? Whether you are not portrayed professionally, if you put up a sign or you give vulgarities and so on, that maybe will fall back to you. So you acted professionally, everything based on the rules and governed by the constitution. I think we should be okay, because everybody can say everything. Everybody can comment anything. They can comment on Wasit, Juri. They say Wasit kayu, Wasit blind, Wasit this and that. Everybody will complain to everybody. So depends on what the complaint, and you take it as this is one of the complaint, and you address it in a professional manner. Right.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh. That's very insightful. Okay, so moving on, I would like to ask Mr. Karul. You are international class 1, right? Okay, so when you are on duty as a KP, if you notice there is a biasness going on during the game, what would you do to stop that action?
Saya untuk KP, ketua pertandingan, selalunya saya stop pertandingan. Saya tukar yang wasit tu. Selalunya saya tukar wasit kerana wasit itu tidak layak di gelanggang, di arena. Karena bias lah, dengan sikap-sikap bias. So saya arahkan untuk Dewan untuk cari pengganti wasit juri yang berkelayakan, yang boleh handle game tersebut.
Thank you. Mr. Zaki, I believe you have been Dewan for a few games. What would you do if you notice the biasness but the KP is not taking action?
I think among a couple of competition, probably not the Wasit himself, I will see some jury themselves. Either they are being biased or they're not putting in points, trying to evade from giving points or giving extra points to one side. Usually, as Dewan, we will quickly alert the Ketua Pengadil, the chairman of competition, and to tell him what we see, what we notice, what we have observed, so that the KP can actually call the actual person forward and ask them what's going on, question them. This is what our Dewan, what the council sees, the council observe. Are you okay? This and that. And then we will start to analyze, and like what Mr. Khairul say, if they are not fit to be there and if we see biasness there on and on continuously, yes, I will agree, Mr. Khairul, that we need to replace them, remove them, replace them quickly so that the games can go on being fair. Yeah, so that's what we do. So a couple of events we have done that, giving the points to the Aba or not being alert and all this. We will, as a day one, I will straight away alert the KP. Because the KP has more things to look at and all that. So we will assist. As day one, we will assist the KP to be able to see more things for him, on behalf of him. The immediate alerting of the KP is very important. Quickly, we must alert him so that we can assist him in the whole game to avoid all this unfairness and all that.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki. Okay, now we will move on to our next topic, which is the updated International Pencak Silat Competition Rules and Regulations. So, Mr. Jerome, do you think the changes in the rules and regulation is a step of improvement for the sport?
Yes, definitely. They are an improvement. I think that from my personal view, I think the world of Silat is too small these days. It needs to grow. We need to reach out to more in the world. And to do so, you need to make the game attractive. In the recent years, the game became very passive, and I needed to explain to everybody I was showing my fights what's happening. And it's hard for people to understand if they are very used to MMA, or kickboxing fights where the fighting continues. They understand that more. It's more attractive to watch. And with the new updated rules, I think to continue the fight after 6 movements is a very attractive way to enable in the game. Next to that, the advanced technique which are allowed now, and dropping and grabbing techniques which will continue even a few steps in the ground, will make the game more attractive for people to watch and more exciting for the audience. And for the players, it will be a more complete game. The game is, how do you say? It became bigger in the game itself.
Thank you. What are your thoughts on the public assuming that these new updated rules have made Silat lose its principle as a martial art?
I think you need to make a difference between a martial art and self-defense. And people are mixing the game between self-defense. And within Silat, there is a very big part of self-defense. But that's not a game. If you apply a self-defensive technique, which you use if somebody draws a knife, it's about life and death. That's not a situation. That's not a game. I really want to make people clear that, like some people are saying, 90% of the techniques in Silat are not applicable in the match. Possibly, but that's a match. You need to have standardized rules, and those standardized rules are the game, and it's not a self-defense.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Lino from Philippines has just entered the room, so I'd like to invite him over to the session. Meanwhile, while Dr. Lino prepares himself, maybe Dr. Sheikh can share your thoughts about the public assuming that these new rules made Silat lose its principle as a martial art.
Well, I've been listening so much about public perception or even the Silat practitioners. I fully echoed what Jerome has said. Truly, we look at Silat in 4 aspects. We see Silat as artistic, Silat as a self-defense, Silat spiritual, and Silat as a sport. Silat as a sport just mooted very not long in 1982. But it became big now because people like to get medals and awards and money and so on. But nevertheless, there's a lot of people also learn about the artistic, the traditional Silat and so on. We covered about 100 over countries on traditional Silat all over the world. And very much also people learn about self-defense. And then when it comes to sport, obviously a lot of people comment about Silat is so boring previously in terms of sports. They don't see any excitement in Silat, though we are in the SEA Games and so on. So I got a lot of from the media, friends, from the sports, other sports people, from the even the authorities and so on. They come in to see. They say, "Why so long? You need to start to punch and kick." Even those days when Silat Olahraga and then becomes Silat Tanding and so on, again, people were completely diluted the Seni Silat. But now we are not portraying like MMA. We are not portraying kickboxing or trying to deviate from the original of Silat. As Jerome is saying, that if self-defense, they help you in streets, that is practical and that is serious. That's reality. So sports, you have to get a points. So when you want to get a points, you have to do a different style of it. So having said all that, I'm trying to change the mindset of the people with the media, the sponsors, the spectators and so on to make it interesting. Silat is so colorful, it is so vast in terms of their techniques and tactics that they have. We try to incorporate as much as possible the Seni Tari. If you can do the Seni Tari inside the fight, you are superb. Right? If you can see Bruce Lee last time, he had his own flair, and you have Diki Zulkarnain doing action and so on. If you can incorporate inside the fights, jolly well, because we want to see that, the Seni Silat. And then the self-defense part of it. The self-defense right now in the new rules, we wanted to showcase Pencak Silat inside the fight itself. You can do kuncian and so on, if you can do it, right? But of course, that depends on the federation itself, the coaches itself, and the athlete itself. This is trying to showcase that Silat is so complete that you need to portray, you need to showcase. So it's actually entirely up to the athletes. It never dilute the pureness of this Pencak Silat. You have to showcase, because that is so beauty. If you can see right now, if you see Silat in movies, is that a real Silat or this is an cut and paste or what? So if you look at in movies, you see Iko West acting like so many movies, and then people are just crazy about it because Silat, the way it shows the self-defense and the technique is so solid. But of course, in movies, they cut here and then they reenactment, they do this, they do that. Same goes to people perception. People may say, wow, it's good, but is it practical? There's a question that we can say, of course it's practical, but sometimes you make it more beauty, the camera action will be edited. So when it comes to the sport itself, it doesn't matter. People will say it diluted or what. It's up to the individual to see, because ultimately the rule have stated that you please showcase pola langkah, sikap tangan, and then you must kick in a proper manner and so on. Whatever types of kick, all within the area of the rules. So I think that's it all. And then this is, I want to make a statement. With the sport, actually it make known to the world that, oh, Silat exists, because people don't know what is Silat all about. So by having sport, you can portray your real art in the competition itself, and then we can have a chance to do demonstration to showcase Silat as the artistic part, as the self-defense part, and so on. So I think that's why people get attracted in the movies. People get attracted by learning a lot of different types of Silat embedded in their club or in their country itself, and they teach in the army and so on. So sports actually bring to the next level where people will understand with the digital world. People will see, hey, this is Silat, it's so beautiful and all that. So I think whatever the perception is, they need to really understand what is the aspect of silat. Then from there, they will understand much better whether you're trying to tarnish the name, or you're trying to improve it, or you're trying to put it to the next level, and so on. And furthermore, the dream to put silat in Olympics is another thing. Is it because Olympic will have a different, again, they may cut a lot of things more. And they say, okay, this kind of rules are a bit dangerous, they may throw down and so on. You never know, because Olympic have their own different levels of attractions that they demand on. So again, for us, with the sports, it carries the traditional and the art itself to the next level.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh. Before I move on to the next speaker, I'll just like to share with the viewers, we have from Philippines, Dr. Lino with us. Dr. Lino, can you briefly introduce yourself to all our viewers?
Yeah, good day, Silat family. I'm Lino Valdebarona, the National Director of the Philippines Pencak Silat Training and Grassroots Development. At the same time, I'm the trainer of the Wasit Juri Philippines, and currently the International Referee Jury Class 1.
Thank you, Dr. Lino. Okay, so I will proceed still with the same questions about the public assuming that these new rules have made Silat lose its principle as a martial art. Anybody from the floor, do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah.
Anyone? Okay,
really,
Dr. Lino.
In my own appreciation of the current rules, the current rules of Pencak Silat right now, it regained its image to the original setting of the Silat culture, because you can see the real technique inside the arena when we talk about tanding. At the same time, the inclusion of the individual performance, the solo creative, it give more opportunity to Silat practitioner, especially with those who are maintaining their perguruan, to showcase their own culture inside the arena. So this is a big thing that happened right now for our sports, in which the rules provide the bigger opportunity to all Silat teachers as well as practitioners to engage more techniques to elevate their performance by maintaining their culture. So you have now the freedom to showcase your Silat culture whenever perguruan you are trying to maintain. But of course, the standard that the Pir Silat being implemented must be followed. But this issue pertaining to the loss of culture, I don't know if it really loses its culture, but in the Philippine Silat practitioner, they appreciate it as a big opportunity for them to get involved. That is why right now in the Philippines, there are a lot of traditional Silat practitioners who coming into Phil Silat Sports Association to involve in a sports Silat, because previously they are hesitant to participate in a sports Silat in the Philippines, especially those Tausug, there are other perguruan in Mindanao area. But right now, they are trying to join us in our Philippine Silat sports competitions.
Thank you, Dr. Lino. That's great that Philippines is getting all these people to join in with the new updated rules implemented. Ibu Titi, what are your thoughts about this issue? You're muted. Sorry.
Sounding of azan here. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'll get maybe Mr. Carol to share your thoughts first.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fazlin. For me, Pencak Silat is a very, very unique martial art in the world, because they have a Tari Silat and then combat, so many things we can see on Pencak Silat. So SMI saya pernah jadi atlet, and then dari umur saya 6 tahun, saya menjadi atlet pencak silat, and then have a lot of classes yang saya cuba daripada tanding, and seni tunggal, jurus tunggal, regu, ganda, and martial. Okay, so for the silat, for me, silat is a very, very unique of martial art. So anyone in Brunei is called, dipanggil dia cekak asli dan kuntau. Itu yang untuk traditional in Brunei lah, untuk pencak silat punya. So that's all for me, Miss Fazlin.
Thank you, Mr. Carol. Maybe one representative from Singapore can share about your thoughts on people assuming that silat has lost its principle as a martial arts.
Welcome, Lino. Okay, right now, people thought that silat is a negative sport, the previous sport. Now, when you become active, people was already emphasize is too active, too robust, and injury prone. It means you can get injured, or you can get long-term injury, or you can get hit very hard. Not like last time. Last time, you can still fight according to your technique, according to your strategy. As for now, is everything fight. Of course, there is something that been taken away, like the seni, the way of silat portray, it became taken away a bit, but the sport still goes on. But one thing good is the younger generation appreciate this fight. I don't know about the older generation, but the older generations sometimes difficult to change, but we have to change, and we have to approach sport as a sport. So once you go sport as a sport, people will realize you fight to gain point. Not like last time. Last time you based on strategy. You can be slow moving silat, then people get boring. Then just 1 point, you win the game. But now no more. Now is everything's fight. So the fittest win. And yes, it's negative in one way. Some parents comes to me and say, oh, it's a bit tough for my children. I see now, be afraid to get my children involved in silat because now the bantingan is very weird. The pulling, they will push the silat. So once you are strong, you push. But these things have to go on. But it all depends on the coach. If the coach train the silat well, the thing will become very interesting. So I see it as interesting. And we have to move forward. This is what I think. But of course, I talk to the parents. I say, we have to do something rather than just punch, kick. It will not go anywhere. For now, you have everything, and you can modify your own technique also. So I think it's negative, yes, but positive is more than negative, what I see. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Shafat. Ibu Titi, you ready? Yeah.
Yes.
Can share your thoughts?
Okay, about the new regulation, about the current regulation.
Yes.
Okay.
And how? Yeah.
And excuse me. Okay. Okay. As I said before, our pesilat and then coach, it's been a long time in comfort zone. Only kicking, the simple kicking and the simple punching and the simple dropping technique can achieve the point. But now it challenge for us, not for coach, not for athlete, for Wasit, KP, and then Dewan, and then TD, no more committee fell in sleep anymore now. For the one must see for the previous regulation, only KP must see clear. Sometimes they want and talking to the side, okay, but not now. Yes, everybody, it must be focused. It must be see clearly about the case and don't don't make mistake in decision. Maybe is a transition time. We can understand there is the pro, there is the contra, there is agree and disagree. It's a normal. So when we have to proceed, then we must proceed. So we have to through it. We can about the negative and then the other not bad assuming. It's okay. But what's your feedback? What's your recommendation to improve our Pancasilat? Because the goal is Pancasilat is go to the Olympics, not just nowhere going. What is it? Nowhere to going. Yeah, going nowhere. Yeah, or step. Yes, just okay. I'm feeling comfort like this. So why needs to change? We can improve Pancasilat itself. And then about the principle kaidah, I think it's still needed. At least at the guard position, it must be shown about the kaidah, because this kaidah can make differentiate between Pancasilat and the other martial self-defense or martial arts. And kaidah Pancasilat pesilat must show the kaidah. So when Iko Uwais and then at the movies, even though the technique, the same technique with the other martial arts, but can be shown that this is Pancasilat by kaidah. Okay. So about the bad assuming, it's okay. We must going throughout it, but we must to the most important is the safety. So Pancasilat now with the current regulation, it can be safe for the whole of the age, for the teens and then for the senior, pre-junior, and then master. The safety is still needed. It's very important. Some of the people need to guarantee the safety of this regulation. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Titi. Last but not least, Mr. Zaki, do you have anything you want to add on?
Yeah. Thanks. I think these new rules and regulations is not about something which is interesting or not. Yes, it is interesting, but I think it's high time. High time that these new rules comes in, because as we move into the digital age today, things are getting fast. Everything is speeding up. From copper to analog. Today is digital. People are using fiber, using wireless and all that. So everybody is expecting things to go fast. And if we stay at where we were, fix, slow, stop, wait, I think it's not interesting. And I think long gone, people like to watch WWF, World Wrestling Federation, all that made up. People want to watch that and they think it's interesting, but at the back of it, it's all made up. But today, I think like what makes MMA evolve, kickboxing all fast today, people they go by thousands, the crowd all come in, they pay, they bet and all that. even I myself, so we would not, I mean, we are in Silat, but I also wouldn't want to miss the MMA and all that, people get very popular for that, we get sponsorship and all that. Why? Because these games are fast. Even today, I think if you go cinema, the romantic movies are not selling tickets fast than the adventure series. All those action-packed series are really saleable today. Why? Because today's generation, I mean, you look at the world's community today, they want everything fast. They want everything action-packed, like movies like, Fast and Furious. All these are giving a lot of popularity. So it is high time that actually we move into something more interesting, more action-packed, a lot of aggression. I myself, I'm excited to go for this to look into this 31st SEA Games, because in my point of view, this is totally new. Even the KP himself is going to sit down there. The Day One himself is going to sit down there, and all Wasit juries are all new to this. So the R&D, the research and development is still ongoing. The finding where are the loopholes are still ongoing. So we are. I'm interested to look at how nervous all of us are this coming competition, how going to be constructive, because the KP himself probably he's never been on the ground to do the Wasit himself, so he reads in the theory. And on top of that, if you look at the old theory book, it's all words, some, and in Malay, English, Indonesian version. Words can be very, very difficult. If you read, you and me, one of you can be dictating something, I be dictating something. But today, in the document that is being given to us, we see lots of pictures, right? Because picture tells 1,000 words. Pictures, descriptive, all the conditions are all there, and it's readable by every single layer of the community, from Americans to Europeans to Asian. It's just clear. So I think this is going to be something that is going to be not only interesting, high time. That's why I say high time. So to those people who think that Silat's not having any more culture, I think we can still bring the culture. And like I ever mentioned before, I think the coaches today, they should understand where this culture is coming from, to sustain that culture and to bring it forward to the next era. How they do it, it's all up to us, all up to the trainers, all up to the individuals, how professional, how creative we're going to have to be. So it's not about, we are like, last time they say we are fighting soldiers. Today we are saying we are thinking soldiers. So last time they could be a fighter. Today we are thinking Silat. They think, they know what they're going to do, what they're going to pull, who's going to pull. Back then when people fall, their butts hit the ground, get down. Today I see they can hit the ground and he can still come up and he can turn the table. So we have to look at that aspect. So I'm looking at that aspect. I'm very anxious to look into this 31st game. This is going to be the first time that everybody's going to be new, and I hope to really see a great crowd coming to see Silat has changed to the new direction. And if we are going for Olympics, yes, we are talking about the world, everybody will say, Silat's coming out very fast. And it is definitely interesting, something action-packed, something that people want to pay and watch, Yeah, that's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki. Okay, for now, we will be taking a short break first. After that, we will be sharing with you, I will get the speakers to share with you what they went through during the courses and trainings and briefing for the new rules. So we'll be taking a short break. In the meantime, viewers, you can continue filling up our chat box with questions if you have any, and you can stay tuned. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, break 5 minutes. 5 minutes break. You all can go to the toilet, solat or what, and then we will resume shortly.
Okay. Thanks, Fazlin.
Welcome.
Rehat dulu.
Yeah. Pak Khairul, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Chatting di sini dulu.
Yeah, because this yang live ini baru
break, I mentioned that we'll be sharing about the motion that all of us went through for the training and briefing for the new rules. Anybody want to share, start the ball rolling and share with us what are the courses that or the briefings that we went through? I know it was via Zoom because of the pandemic, but maybe you can share with all of us because the viewers are also interested to know how we prepare ourselves with the new rules that is being implemented. Maybe we can start with Mr. Jerome.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. We had a couple of things to do to implement the new rules in the Netherlands. First of all, we had some seriously long introductions to the new rules, which we joined, of course, by Zoom. And next to that, we have created our own platform in Netherlands and put it open for some of the European countries to join if they were willing. So we were having refreshments with the teams, and we make some work groups to share the new rules in the Netherlands. So as a Wasit Juri, we think it's our responsibility to give the information to every coach, to every trainer, next to our own referee, of course. So we created a sparring event, a testing event with everybody, put it open, no winners, just learning, and an interview within the new rules. And we made a big discussion with, I think, about 100 people or so, discussion about the new rules. And we think it was very insightful for everybody. There were some good questions from the audience at that time. And we took them back to study ourselves, as at the moment they asked the questions, we did not know the answer. And that's what we need to realize. In the beginning of the new rules, it was new. And you cannot memorize every technique, every ability, every new rules change. So we were quite open, and we taught the coaches and the gurus, everybody, all right, help us to implement the new rules. And I think in the Netherlands, we did it together. So not just a Wasit Juri, but we did it together with all the athletes and coaches and other involved people. And I hope they just enjoyed it as much as I did. And after 2 matches, 2 days of fighting, I think we are stepping up with these new rules.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. That was very nice to know that the Netherlands have shared with your whole pool of Silat practitioners about the new rules. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Lino to share what you went through with the updates of the new rules and how you upgraded yourself to understand the rules better.
Yeah. So welcome back. Now, as Mr. Safa said, we need to have a lot of process that we need to look into. Right now, in our practices, we go through with the club level first. We started with the trainers. As we embrace these new rules, we try to practice first for the club basis first to practice. But right now, we were not able to implement the actual competition, but it is more on a club practice for the rules, so that all the Pisilat would appreciate the rules prior to our public viewing for the tournaments. And of course, we go through the process of training our coaches as well as technical official to fully understand the rules prior to the implementation. But we go through for a virtual series of virtual training. At the same time, different clubs, since this pandemic, we changed our culture in the conduct of competitions. So right now, little by little, the government is open. So this coming May, we have face-to-face actual implementation of our new rules, so that we can validate how far is the appreciation of our athletes as well as technical officials and coaches with the new rules. So this is a blended tournament. online, offline tournament. There are students who will go for online. There are PCLAT who will go for a face-to-face tournament.
That's great. Thank you, Ratanino. Next, can I get Mr. Zaki? While the rest of them goes through their session via Zoom, I believe in Singapore you had a session in person. Maybe you can share with us what you all had to go through during the session in person, the trainings, the techniques, and all.
Yes, pertaining to these rules, I was saying, we started starting with physical training to meet the requirements. Dr. Sheikh Alauddin organized a lot of training sessions that we all will be able to come down and put everything into practical, do things, and then all mistakes that we do is being pointed out. So it's all about the sessions that we have. We had one-to-one session, and it was a bit tough at that time when we started off. Yes, because first and foremost, the physical training, the physical test really tested all of us. That was one of the requirements that we had to do because it was in the book, and we made it all happen. From the younger ones to the older ones, everybody, Dr. Sheikh made us all go through all that physical training to ensure that is one of the most prerequisites for you to be fit. You have to meet up to running, the jogging, how to be alert, and how to be fast and all that. At his age, he's organizing that, and we were doing that, and then follow up by classes, by the theory lessons, and then the practical, like he says, that we go through the ganda, tunggal, regu. We had to find our own partners, and we need to do it, on the spot. It was a whole day thing. We started since morning all the way until night. We did that a couple of times, and we had a few competitions that we organized. The last one was Rising Together. Within all, we invited the other perguruans as well in Singapore, and then came the last SEA Championship, and then recently, last 4 weekends, we had Ramadan Challenge, and all the Wasit Juri was given first-hand opportunity to be in the gelanggang to try out, to be pointed out your mistakes and all your good points and all that. So yes, in Singapore, I'm proud to say that we started all here. I'm proud to say about that. We started here. We went through that. We gone through with Dr. Sheikh's guidance. Yes, we managed to have a lot of practical lessons, and yeah, we hope that we can be able to pull through this and maybe share our experiences to the international Wasit Juri who's going to come on board on the 31st, and they should know what we have gone through, and we will want to share whatever we have gone through. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki. Mr. Shafaq, do you have anything to add on about what you went through for the new rules training in Singapore?
Actually, all the new rules that started shocked me. First thing, it shocked me because I don't expect I was drinking almost 8 bottles of water because I totally dehydrated. But one thing that moved me forward is if this thing that I can take it, right, as coming to 60 years old, I think every Wasit Juri should be no problem. The younger one should be no problem. But the technique, must still be there. The technique must still be there. You must have a subject expert to teach you. That is important, because if the subject expert do his own expert, then that's a problem. That will be a problem, because every time when we talk about technique, talk of the way of doing things, all the exercise and all the practice that we have, we still rely on the old rule. We say, last time it's like that, now it's like that. But if the subject expert, like Dr. Sheikh already mentioned, hey, forget. That means we start fresh. And when you start fresh, it's easy to learn. I think easy to learn, easy to update. But a bit tougher, but it's easy to learn. And we cannot, any experienced Wasit Juri also say, they cannot say they are an expert anymore. because everything is new and we have not tasted the Class A championship yet. We only taste a normal friendly match, normal championship where they don't fight for honor. They're fighting only to learn skill. And this SEA game, I think is a bit tough, but we still have to go on. We have to move on. But training-wise, we have to train. The Wasit Juri also need to be fit and ready.
Thank you, Mr. Shafak. Okay, before I move on to get Ibu Titi and Mr. Karul to share their experiences, Dr. Sheikh has an engagement that he has to attend to. So maybe before you take your leave, Dr. Sheikh, do you have any closing statement that you want to share with the viewers?
First and foremost, I would like to thank all the panels inside together with me talking about the rules, Wasit Juri experiences and so on. I think that's excellent. This we have to do a lot of like this to get ourselves involved deeply pertaining to Silat and Wasit Juri. And I would like to take this opportunity also to make a statement where earlier, Mr. Shafak was saying that he's almost 60 and he still do physical stuff and he have to continue doing training and absorb as much as possible and still want to share and deliver whatever that he can. And I also, we did a training, the trainer, where Madam Titi was part of it. And she have to showcase all the techniques too. And then that give the full respect. I guess age is not a matter. Age is not a matter. Though the sport can move that fast, she can cope up with it. She can blend in and she can just showcase like the young ones. So I think there's no reason for anyone not to be part of this and no reason for anyone to say that I can't do it. If Madam Titi, Mr. Shafak can do it at the age of, I think Madam Titi is more than 60 or about there, if I'm not wrong, and she can showcase, I want everyone to come forward together. And of course, to the audience and the fans out there that will be following us, today as a start for the YouTube on International Wasit Juri, we have tomorrow with the international athletes. And then we will have follow-up with the, on the 28th, we have the international coaches. And of course, 29, we have all the presidents of Silat in the world that be part of this sharing session in the YouTube Live. I will definitely look forward to work with all of you and working together. I think this is a very good move for all of us to be part of this. I thank you again and thank you very much. Continue your discussion, make it more fruitful. You can, yeah, we put it at 2 o'clock, but you can go beyond if you have a lot of things to share. I think it's very important out there want to know about how do you feel pertaining to the new rules, whether what is the mentality, you yourself, the people out there, whether the sponsors are knocking your doors now, the medias are asking you for more interviews and so on. So I think let's take a look in a brighter and fruitful year for us, and let's make this coming SEA Games and World Championship and a lot more games are going on this year and of course next year. Let take part and feel it yourself. Thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh.
Thank you, Dr. Sheikh.
Schedule, you still put in time to be on part of this YouTube Live. Okay, so Dr. Sheikh was mentioning about the training of trainers course just now that Mr. Karul, Ibu Titi, and also myself attended. Mr. Karul, since you are smiling, maybe you want to share with all the rest of the viewers what the training of the course is and what you had to go through just to complete the whole course and went through the graduation together earlier last month. Share with us.
Yeah, since 2 years already we have not working as a ITO. So for the first time, for the first Pesilat TOT, train of trainer, for me is tough because everything must be do it. Tanding, seni, and then you must know the jurus tunggal, jurus regu, and then sometimes your stamina become down. So for the first Pesilat, I think for me tough experience for me, and then everything I will be do it for the virtuals, not actual and virtuals. Because for me hard for the virtual. If me for the live lah, kira perjumpaan bersama lagi senang di praktikalnya dengan sama-sama dengan wasit juri yang lain. Tapi kalau untuk virtual dengan gaya-gaya kita orang pun ada susah sedikit lah. Gimana itu macam sapuannya, rollingnya, itulah. Tapi stamina itu mau kena kena tough lah untuk first Pesilat. Itu our experience lah. So maybe same as Bu Titi, first Pesilat Bu Titi. That's all from me.
Thank you, Mr. Carol. Ibu Titi, please share your experience about the training of trainer course. I know we had to go through a lot of theory and also practical, and it was a bit difficult because the practical sessions were via Zoom. So share with all of us what you had to go through and what are your thoughts about the session that we went through.
Thank you, Nur Fazlin. Okay, I really appreciate about the Mr. Sheikh comment, especially for me. But Mr. Sheikh don't know about what the story behind it. You know, the story behind it. Okay, okay. Actually, the socialization of the new rules, it's several times, and the first in 2020, but because of due to the many pages, more than near to 500, so I think everybody is too lazy to open up the regulation. So including me. But actually, I've been pushed when I have assigned when commemorating of Persilat, and then Mr. Benny assigned me to give presentation of the new rules in that occasion. So, oh my God, I have to open up, I have to read it. So I've been pushed to understand about the regulation because I admit it, in Indonesia is one step behind about the new rules. So when we read new rules, it's many difficulties for me, but we must to implement it, and we must to socialize to the other ones. And then after that, we have many changes about the rules, yes, and then was revised in 2021, and then revised in 2022. And after training of trainer, it still changes, yes. And when training of trainer, I really honor, and then I really, yes, a little rather shocked about that, because I thought Zoom meeting always listen up, no practical, but in fact, we have to find a partner to show the technique, to show the fighting, and then I have difficulties to find the partner with same age with me. You know, So my partner is still much more younger, yeah. The athlete, the athlete. But yeah, I use my, what is it? My power. Okay, that's because the athlete. Yes, it's really. I really appreciate it to the committee, and then for the next, I will duplicate about the way of the Zoom meeting like that, because after the COVID, we still have difficulties to collect the participant, because in Indonesia the area is very wide and is very difficult to go together in one place. Yes, so I think the experience about the way of Zoom meeting is very, what is it? I will duplicate it to make socialization, to make training of trainer in Indonesia, and then about the how to keep about the fitness of referee and jury, and then I really impressed to the Singapore referee and jury. I saw the Wasit and jury going to be slimmer, yes. But Mr. Safak always like that. Mr. What is it? Yes, is going slimmer. Yes, I really appreciate it. Maybe I will. What is it? I will make it like that in Indonesia. Especially now, I become a chief of referee and jury in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibu Titi. That was very, very honest sharing session by you. We went through a lot during the training of trainer course, and I think during the graduation, we were all very proud of what we went through and managed to complete. So next, touching on the SEA Championship in Singapore that was held in February this year. So that was actually the first actual competition, or we can call it a regional competition using the upgraded rules. As a Wasit jury that was on duty during that competition, you've seen the athletes experiencing and applying the changes in the new rules. So how well do you think these athletes are or have prepared themselves to compete using the new rules? Mr. Shafak, maybe you can answer, share your points on how you think the athletes fare with the new rules in the SEA Championship.
I see in the overview picture of the SEA Championship, right? The problems is the veteran athlete still have not changed. The way they attack, the way they defense, they still rusty. But the fresh athlete, they already maybe 50 to 70% already understand that things. But also together with the Wasit jury also still rusty because it's a new rule that we implement. The problems comes in the protest. When that protest starts, the Wasit also lost, the jury also lost, the hotel commissioner only understand what the cornerman is saying. So with this guidebook that already comes up, like the latest one, I think we can easily communicate regarding the rules, right? Because when we explain to the athlete this new rule, it's difficult to go to the senior athlete. And the younger athlete or the fresh athlete, they can understand better. Because some of them, I even interview one or two athletes, some of them even read the rule and regulation, so they know a bit better. Okay, but I tell you frankly, the SEA Championship is a turning point because we learn our mistake, we learn what we are supposed to do, what we are not supposed to do. From that on, we have to move on really.
Rosalind, can I add something?
Yes, sure.
Can I add something? I think, yes, I was also at the SEA Championship the other time. I think in all aspects, yeah. Let me start off with day one, the council and all that. In these aspects, they also have already things for them to do, you know. Like the day one today, he or she has to be alert with what's going on, who dropped the blue or the red and all that. You know, besides looking at all the points that the jury is giving, they also need to be able to award the points. If they do not watch the game, or probably they are busy planning out the schedule for or the deployment of all the jury that's gonna come up, you're gonna have to miss the game. You know, so back then the jury is always busy, you know, doing all the appointment, planning the deployment and all that for the next batch of juries going to come up. Today he's gonna have to watch the game, and he's gonna also be the person who's gonna watch the timer, the 5 seconds timer, you know, the one that has been invented. Here you're gonna have to watch the game, and here you need to know when to press, when to reset, when to start, when to, and all that is in that aspect. I think those even Butiti also sit there. Even a lot of our juries also start to sit there. I think they will understand that it's not getting easier, but the responsibility is very high today. In the aspect of the Pesilat, I think since the time that they were told that this changed, yes, a lot of them did manage to learn, did manage to apply. The only problem is, like Shafat said, the older athletes or the more senior athletes, they still have the bad habits, bad habits that die hard. Every time when you tee, a lot of them will start to move away and start to go to the center of the arena, in which the new rules and regulations say where you stop, where you tee is where you're gonna mulai again, right? So to control, to control them, to bring them near to each other, to start wherever they stop, that one needs a lot of improvement to be done, and we need to input that into the athletes. But as far as I see, the aspect of athletes, I think a lot of them has already started to see the new rules were taking place, and started to see that these new rules going to be interesting for them because they can start pulling. I think the Pesilats have yet to start to grab and pull from last time. Because we always give give them binaan and all that because they start to pull it. Today, when they are allowed to do that, I think they have applied that at a full level. They already started to do all the pulling. Only that, yes, we need, as referee Juri in the arena today that we are controlling, we need to ensure that their pola langkah is still there. Their sikap tangan is still there. No running, no walking, merely walking and all that. These are our controls. In terms of the, like Shafat was saying about the protests, yes, the technology has taken place today, Even Butiti also was sitting down there, Butiti, correct? Look at the protest. I think the technology also, it needs a while to learn what needs to be pulled, where to see, how many cameras are we to see. Because like I've said earlier, this is not something that is going to be like soccer, oh, goal, the next second, what made that goal, so that VAR is quite fast. Today, we need to look at all different angles to ensure that we can be able to satisfy the person who is doing the protest, to satisfy all the spectators that protest, either it's valid or invalid. We need to show everybody. So it's not just among us. It is made known to everyone who is there, everyone who is watching, that this game has been run correctly, fairly, and the athletes feel that they know what they're doing inside, and they know that the points that are supposed to be awarded will be awarded.
Thank you, Mr. Zaki. Okay, Ibu Titi, you were also there during the SEA Championship in Singapore. So from your point of view, what changes or improvement are you expecting to see from the SEA Championship to SEA Games in Vietnam, which will happen within 2 weeks, in 2 weeks' time? Yeah, so what are the improvements are you expecting to see?
Okay, thank you. Uh, before I present about our hope and then to improve after the Singapore Championship, and then I want to tell you about my experience in Singapore, because in Singapore is the first championship with the new rules for me and then for Indonesian Wasit and Juri. So I think it's really the handicap is to to change the mindset of the Wasit, because in the previous regulation when after the pesilat drop and then the story is end. Pesilat drop, after that the story is end. So when two pesilat drops, who drop is the pesilat who drop first. And in this regulation, after the drop, the pesilat can have the chance to making another attack, counter attack. And then when the pesilat drop and drop, now we have to see who the last drop. I think it's very crucial for us to change our mindset about the regulation. And then I see in here in a Singapore Championship, the function of the KP. The function of the KP. If KP find any mistake of Wasit, no doubt to call the Wasit. So sometimes, this is right or wrong, but KP didn't make calling to the Wasit. So yes, we still confused. And then in this Singapore Championship, I have discussion with Mr. Say about the violation between light violation and severe violation. Sometimes it still need consensus, it still need agreement. But yes, according to the book, this is the severe violation. But if only like this, if only not causing injuries, no, you don't have to straight to the warning, but to reprimand first. But it's not stipulated in the regulation. So I really happy now, because now the violation, it becomes to 3 types: light violation, moderate, and then severe violation. I really agree about that, because no more consensus, no more agreement between or among the Wasit to make decision, because the best of regulation, if everyone read the regulation, so everyone can make same decision and have the same perception of that regulation. And I really glad that some improvement to the regulation, but I have suggestion or I have recommendation. First, for the regulation book, I think it's better to differentiate the book, because near close to 500 pages when we have the regulation, most of us is too lazy to open up. Yeah, so especially for the coaches always ask to Wasit, if like this, what the result? If like this, what the decision? They are too lazy to read the regulation. So the suggestion is we better differentiate between the regulation itself. It contains the word, the phrases, and then adhere by the picture. So the pictures and deep information is as the not article but appendix. So the main is maybe less than 100. Oh, coaches and then Wasit or still 100 is okay. I can read it. But when see 500, everybody may be too lazy to open up the regulation. I mean, maybe the regulation and adhere with the appendix. Appendix contains of the picture because many pictures. Yes, I understand because pictures is really help us to understand about the case. But sometimes one case, many pictures. Yes, one case, only one case, but many pictures because the pictures and then the deep information can become an appendix. And then the second is the special regulation for the teens, because in Indonesia many competition for the teens. So they ask us the guarantee, is this safe for teens? Yes, to make competition with the new regulation. I really can make guarantee to them about the safety. Yes, because I don't know about the ability of the kids to make the technique and then the impact of the regulation itself, but maybe to guarantee for the coaches and then for the parents how to make maybe the safety regulation for the teens. It is the recommendation. And then for, as I mentioned before, about the jurus, about the arts, yes, about the seni. Because according to the rules, I read that for the jury will be assigned in seni, it will be like, I don't know the equipment like that, but it will be assigned by Dewan by lotting, yeah, by lotting. Because like in Singapore, I understand because most of the referee is from Singapore, so all like jury, 3 juries, 5 juries, or 10 juries for the senior, the result like this. Yes, I heard about that, but maybe the lotting of the assignment juries, it might be implemented in the SEA Games. So nobody knows who will be assigned in that performance, in that assignment ladder. I think it's better for us to keep the fairness. Okay, Fazlin.
Thank you, Bu Titi. Definitely, we will look into it and see. Maybe I will discuss with Dr. Sheikh further on the points that you have brought up. Okay, moving on. For Mr. Jeron, Dr. Lino, and Mr. Carol, you weren't at the SEA Championship itself, but I believe you all watched the clips on YouTube. Yeah, so as a viewer, so not as a Wasit Juri, as a viewer, can you share with us what are your thoughts about the differences between previous competitions and what was in the SEA Championship? Like how the sport has, whether the new rules that has been implemented were showcased and you could see the difference during SEA Championship itself. Mr. Jeron, please.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of things that changed. We tried to make the sport more attractive, to more have a continuous flow, and I think it will be very delayed if there is an inconvenience when there is a protest. sometimes it takes really long to make the progress of a protest. Even as a viewer, it's not always clear what the protest is about. So the concept of protest and the way we announce it and do it should be reviewed, and maybe there's room for improvement. As a viewer, it's difficult to understand everything that's going on. So we need to realize that that's different. Next to that, if you look to the athletes, I think that what the other speakers were telling about the more senior athletes are rusty and stuck in their old habits. It will take time, and the new generation will come, and I'm sure that new generations will follow up with these new rules. But just like Ibu Titi said, we in the Netherlands also have our concerns with the younger athletes, with the parents coming to us like, is it safe? How do we implement it? And we are still struggling with those type of questions, especially for the little kids. We are very lucky to have children from 6, 7, 8 years old, starting with standing, with first times they express their techniques. And then these rules are quite firm. And I'm not worried about the fighters, the A fighters in SEA Games or in the World Championships or European Championships. Those fighters will be fine. They know, they are trained, they know the rules, they're fine. But especially younger kids, teenagers who are just starting their career and their fun in Silat, we need to make sure that we protect them. And we need to establish that also as a referee.
Thank you, Mr. Jerome. Next, Dr. Lino. Dr. Lino, you are muted.
Hello.
Yeah, share with us.
Yeah.
About the SEA Championship.
Yeah. So watching on YouTube as a viewer of the SEA Championship, there are a lot of changes which we appreciate, and of course, the competition is quite different from the old ones, especially the procedures as well as the implementation, because it's fully embraced with technology. So the challenge is, again, as what other speaker had said, the appreciation of the young ones, especially the teens. So right now in the Philippines, we have a lot of discussion pertaining to how we will implement the new rules in the Pelarong Pambansa, since this is a school-based competitions. And there are a lot of parents looking into. But for those senior athletes, no problem, because they are very much willing to adopt the techniques, because they are longing for that for a quite long time. However, for the school-based sports competition, we have a lot of discussion for this, and hopefully the Persilat will look into separate, as Madam Titi had said, they should look into a separate rules for school-based competitions pertaining to how these new rules will be implemented. And of course, one thing that I would like to look into is more study on the protest process, because based on my observation, there are a lot of disagreement pertaining to resolving of protest. So sometimes the respect of the coaches to the technical official cannot be found. So that is why it needs a further study, the process on attending protests, so that we can have the full respect to the technical official, especially the coaches will appreciate about the decision of the technical officials.
Thank you, Dr. Lino. Next, can I have Mr. Carol?
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Fazlin. I just see live in the media, social media, for the event, I think, pre-SEA game at Singapore. So for the first one that used for the new rules, 2022. So I have no comment for that for the pre-SEA game, because inshallah for the first first new roles will be start at the next event in SEA Games, Vietnam, Hanoi. So I really happy for the first one for the SEA Games Vietnam. So for the what they call for the last event for the free SEA Games, more implement lah, more the new rules implements, especially for the counter attack. Okay, I like for the so last time, so you have give for the 5 seconds to dropping for the drop lah. For now, for the new roles, you can pull, even you scissor, you can pull down, and the counter attack. I am very interested because is the counter attack you can also move to dropping to the apa dipanggil ni di pesilat itu di counter attack. So itu yang saya interest lah. So for the new rules. So new rules ni banyak perubahannya. Actually ya macam dulu yang diperbolehkan tidak diperbolehkan, sekarang diperbolehkan macam tarikan, and then out of order, one leg off of order, and then so your timing for the silat movement is no more lagi. So that's all lah for me. So hopefully in smooth for the SEA Games, for coming SEA Games in Hanoi. So we use for the new rules for the 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Carol. Okay, so before we end our live session for today, I would like to invite all our speakers to share your thoughts on what you see or how you see Silat can grow in the future and what you expect to see in the upcoming SEA Games in Hanoi. We will start off with Mr. Shafaq first.
Hi, I foresee the SEA Game will be very interesting, and I think it will be watched by quite a number of people who want to know what exactly the new rule is and how attractive the sport will be. But of course, we have to expose this championship and put in YouTube, you put in any social media to make it exposed. And I see this Silat can progress more. It can go more once everybody understand two things. One is the rule and regulation. Second is understand English. Because once you understand English and the rule and regulation, it will be very simple. The only obstacle during the SEA Games is the English version. Because when the protest comes in, we do not understand English. The Wasit also do not understand English. Then the communication will be a button, is a blockage in this championship. But I think it will become very interesting. And I can see the older pesilat will be struggling, whereas the younger pesilat, I think, will be perform better than the older silat. Unless the older silat, they have the technique and the skill and they learn very fast, I think it will be very interesting. Seriously, it will be very interesting because the stamina you need is a lot. This is what I see.
Thank you, Mr. Shafaq. Next, can I get Ibu Titi to speak?
Sorry, my connection is not running well. Okay, can you repeat again?
Share with us and all the viewers how you see Silat can progress in the future and what you expect to see in the upcoming SEA Games in Vietnam.
Okay, as my friend mentioned before, I think I want the best for Pencaksilat. Best for Pencaksilat. whenever the four aspects of Pancasila, like and self-defense in the art and then spiritual and then sport, can improve of the word, but beside we still want uh, more interesting to be watched and then more safe to be implemented. So the first pesilat at the first age, at the preteen age, no worries. But I always said about the kaidah. Please show the kaidah in whatever the type of Pancasilat. Show the kaidah. So I really rather this point about uh, the current of the regulation to let the pesilat both of the hands down, no pasang. The kaidah only the guard position in the beginning of the guard position, but after that is free for pesilat without pasang. I really disappoint about that, but whatever about the changes, but don't forget about the kaidah. Yes, many technique of Pancasilat can improve, but kaidah, this is identification of the Pancasilat. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Bu Titi. Next, Dr. Lino, please.
Yeah, perception for the Pencak Silat event this coming SEA Games. I expect a lot of improvement, especially in terms of personality of our technical official, since as Mr. Saki said, we are all new. So we need to embrace whatever development the Persilat would like to implement, especially the BISGOC for the implementation of SEA Games. And it is a big challenge to all technical officials who will be on duty, since we are accompanied by adapted technology. And of course, I would like to foresee for the Pencak Silat in the future that more research and development will be discovered pertaining to security and safety of the athletes, especially for our protective gears, because all of the techniques are adapted based on a traditional context of martial arts. But of course, since we are approaching for the inclusion of Pencak Silat into Olympic, I think Olympic has a lot of measures to be implemented for safety. That is why I would like to open the floor to everybody to get involved on research and development, especially for our protective gears, as well as how this technology will be utilized for a specified and accurate data in terms of judging the event.
Thank you, Dr. Lino. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Karun.
Okay, for the next SEA Games will be in Hanoi, Vietnam. So we are new. In new rules, new norma. So everything will be changed. The arena, the scoring, and then even the jury. Before the all rules, the jury is 5. So now the jury is 3, become 3. And then they have some changes for the 5 second for the it's mean what they said for the buzzer. So now they use for the buzzer alarm buzzer. For the example, he want to process for the dropping. So the dropping process is 5 seconds. So after 5 seconds, we should be Tia. So now in the new rules, they have a buzzer. They have buzzer like alarm. So if you heard the alarm, all the wasit must be stopped lah. The pertandingan, okay. So I hope for the new rules in the next event more tough, and we also learn and that's all for me lah, because I'm not yet there, because Bu Titi in Singapore for the first trial pre-SEA game. So I'm interested in Vietnam, SEA Game Vietnam Hanoi for the new rules lah. All implements already in new books for the 2022. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Carol. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Jeron.
I'm not quite sure what we will expect. There are new rules. People are new in another environment, so things are new. And I hope everybody realize it, that everything is new. Let's all be a bit kind to each other. I think that's very important. Don't call out on the Wasit. Don't call out on the players. Don't call out on the coaches. Everybody is new. We all need to do this together. And we need to realize that there will be mistakes. There will be a Wasit with a little drop on the ground who will call our T. And that's normal. He will do it or she will do it. That's what he's trained to do for multiple years. Those kinds of mistakes will happen. I hope not too often. I hope everybody give each other the time to learn. And let's incorporate these new rules and start showing off those wonderful sports we are doing. We call Pencak Silat.
Very well said, Mr. Jeron. Thank you for bringing that up, so everyone is aware that it is also new for all of us, Wasit Juri as well. Last but not least, I'd like to invite Mr. Zaki.
Oh, okay.
Please.
Thank you. Being the last speaker, I think this is what I want to say. Well, we all know everything is new. Like every one of you have mentioned, everything is new. It is not new as what we said. It is the moving forward that we want to see. Everything is technology. Everything is methodology, like Ibu Titi say, Kaedah, this is our methodology. Methodology, the technology, digital, today, if you are in a game, if you're a jury, you'll be saying that, I will see what's the next step before I give the points. No more. Now, it's not only your body has to be physically fit, even your fingers have to be physically fit, because you have to award that points right there and then. You're slow, your points will not be registered in. If you have to look up and look down and give the points, the next moment you're left behind. So, the technology is going so fast today that even your fingers have to be fast. Your fingers have to be fast. And that 5-second alarm, that buzzer, will be useful for all of us, because it has all time people have been complaining that, hey, this Juri is counting 5 seconds, or some are fast, some are slow. So today, I think we are looking at how we move forward, how we standardize, how we synchronize to the technology, how we work with technology to bring us forward. And that is towards Olympic, because everything in Olympic is not something old, that is going to be something advanced. So like Ibu Titi say, yes, 500 words today. If it's a book, yes, I can understand. But today we are giving it to you in digital. Maybe one click of the appendix will bring you to that page. What you want to find, there'll be a search button and all that can be it. And like I said, the R&D, the research and development is still ongoing. The finding where our mistakes are, the loopholes are still ongoing. And that will never stop, because as we know from the old rules also, we have never stopped learning. So to close it up, I think we should all focus on what's forward, stay on par with the technology, and move forward, move on. We can't look back anymore. There is no turning back anymore. So in these SEA Games in Hanoi, I think we all should focus on what we need to learn, how we need to move forward, and where do we need to look at to improve ourselves in the next era. That's what I think we have to do, and that's what I thought. So I'm looking forward for that. Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Mr. Zaki.
Yeah.
Okay, we have reached the end of our session for today. Hopefully, you had some good laughs with us and learned something new. We will see you all again next time. Keep up with our social media, and we'll be live again tomorrow with different group of guests. So don't miss out on that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye.